Hi traders, David here again from Wave Trader with another edition of weekly analysis for the the third week of January. So things are beginning to look exciting on the charts, and I'm just going to give you an overlay of what's happening on the majors in relation to the dollar index. Okay. So I believe that understanding how the dollar index moves will help you in making good trading decisions. So let's get into this. Now, this is the monthly chart on the dollar index. Okay, remember traders, you can't trade this, at least not on the MT4 platform that I use, but I use it to determine good entry position, so to speak, on the major currencies, even on the cross currencies. But for this video, let's just focus on the major currencies. Okay, so I'm talking about the euro, the GBP USD, the New Zealand USD, the AUD USD, the USD CAD, the USD Swizzy, the USD JPY. Okay, all right. Now this is the monthly chart on the dollar index. Okay, and this is where we are right now. Hope you can see this. I'm just going to enlarge that. So now we can look at this chart and decide on what the chart is telling us by determining where it will go. However, because this is the monthly, I just want us to pay attention to the most current candle, and you can see that it is bouncing off of an area of support right here. All right, so this area is a good area of support for the dollar index. That's the 95.83 region. So we are just going to concentrate on that for now. Even if it decides it's going to go down, we have all month to realize that. Okay, so we can play around on this chart. Now let's go down to the weekly. So what do we see on the weekly? Well, this is what I see on the weekly. Like I said in my last review, this is a wave top situation. Okay, but right now you can see that we are bouncing off of this area of support, and like I said last week, when you see a reversal candle like this, like a spinning top or a hammer bar, okay, a hammer bar slash spinning top here, or railroad tracks, okay, it connotes a reversal. And based on what I've noticed, now you've seen that this reversal is going towards the 62% retracement of this move. So if we were to take that here like so, that means that we are looking at this area possibly, and possibly higher. Okay, it might even get as high as the 79%, because you have to understand that this is a downtrend right here. All right, so I'm just going to leave the downtrend line there, the trend line. Okay, and let's go lower to see what we see. So let's go lower to the daily chart, and this is the daily chart. And now you can see on the daily chart that we seem to be in a downtrend. Okay, so whatever is happening here is just a bounce off of an area of support, and you can see that it gave us a beautiful wave bottom situation, which was tradable. Okay, so we have this. Now we are at an area of resistance right now. Okay, so the possibility is that the market may want to turn around here, but you can see that we just crossed our MACD line, okay, giving us a golden cross. So I believe that there's still upward potential. Now this dotted line here is the 62% of this rundown in price, and you can see we had an incidence of positive divergence here, like so. You have to learn to recognize these signs, because they really make your trading that much easier. Now this is positive divergence, and whenever you see an incidence of positive divergence, there usually is going to be a wave bottom. I know that we had one here, but I submit to you respectfully that we are going to have another incidence of a wave bottom here. So most likely we are going to see something that goes like this. Okay, it might not go that low, but and then possibly this way, because the MACD is crossed and giving us a very strong bullish signal. I'm going to go lower to the 4-hour chart right here, and we'll see what we see. So on the 4-hour chart, we begin to see more definition, and you can see here we have our wave bottom situation. Okay, so this is the first wave, this is the second wave, so this whole thing here is the third wave. So I submit to you that we are just getting into the fourth wave in this week. All right, so I'm not really expecting a buoyant move as from tomorrow. Okay, but however, if we get a break above this area of resistance, then you can expect the market to move at least to the 97.57 region right here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. So with 4 now, how far with 4 is going to go, we can actually take an educated guess. All right, so now this is the 38.2% region where my trend line stopped. So because the upward trend is strong, the possibility of the market turning around somewhere between the 23 and the 38% is very strong. However, usually when the fourth wave begins to move, it tends to go as low as the tip of the second wave here, and that takes us to the region of the 50%, just above the 50%. Okay, so now remember, you can't trade this, but by the time you look at this on the USD card, on the Euro USD, you are going to see something similar. All right, so whatever analysis I give here applies to these currency pairs that I just named. All right, so how are you going to get into a bullish trade here? Well, I submit to you that while you are waiting for a wave bottom situation somewhere in this region, you are also going to be watching your MACD. And I think if I go lower to the 1 hour chart, I may see something better. So on the 1 hour chart, you can see everything happening here. So if this move is going to go back to the upside, then I submit to you that we are waiting for a wave bottom situation and also for a golden cross on the MACD. And when we get a golden cross on the MACD, the upward move can resume. Okay, so for those of you who are interested in the dollar index, that is the analysis I have for you. Now I'm just going to quickly run through the others, because whatever applies to the dollar index applies to the majors, yeah, both inversely and directly. Now let's go to the euro. So because the dollar index is showing signs of going up, we are considering a downward move on the euro, even though we have a wave bottom situation here on the weekly. But I'm going to go to the monthly. So this is what's happening on the monthly. You can see that on the monthly chart, we have an inverted look of what happens on the dollar. So you can see that we are at an area of resistance here, and then the market seems to be retracing. But this retracement is not going to go down for long, all right, because the upward trend is much more prominent. So quickly going to the weekly chart, this is what we see. All right, so this is just a brief downward move, so don't get excited. You can see that the MACD is still trending upward. Okay, so let's go quickly to the daily now, and this is the daily. So what do we see here? What we see here is the direct opposite of what's happening on the dollar index. All right, but this one has a little bit more definition, because you can see that this area of support is holding quite well, and it's been doing this for the past few weeks. All right, so definitely I know we are in an uptrend, but how are we going to continue this trend? We are going to wait for the MACD to give us a more definite sign, and I think we have to go lower to see it. So let's go to the 4-hour chart right here, and you can see on the 4-hour chart we already have positive divergence happening here. All right, this is positive divergence, which is a precursor to a wave bottom situation. All right, histogram giving us an early signal here, and then the MACD giving us a golden cross right here. So this is a divergence situation, and you can see if we were to count the waves, we have our first wave, second wave, third wave. So this divergence situation is putting us into the fourth wave. So don't be in a hurry to buy. For those of you who are thinking of trading the euro this week, don't buy just yet. All right, so let's wait for the fifth wave to commence, which I submit is still going to go down a little bit, and the fifth wave is possibly what will give us our wave bottom situation. All right, so for the euro, same thing as the dollar index, you wait. You can see our divergence situation happening here. All right, so this is a beautiful situation for an upward move, but you have to wait. Okay, and if you don't know how to wait, I submit to you, please draw a trend line like so, and you can see what looks like a descending wedge here. Okay, if you look at these two trend lines, so wait for the trend line to be broken conclusively to the upside, and then you can take your long trade on the euro. All right, now going to the GBP USD from the monthly. Look, you can easily see that we have a wave bottom situation happening here. All right, so the trend is going to be bullish in the long run. So whatever is happening here is just a brief downward move. All right, and because we have an incidence of positive divergence here, I believe that this move is just setting up for a wave bottom situation. But this is the monthly chart. So right now, currently, our current candle on the monthly chart is bearish, so we are going to consider that, okay, for short-term trades. Now this is the weekly chart right here. All right, so because we now understand that even though the overall trend is bullish, we are considering a short-term situation of bearish trades. Okay, but this is an area of consolidation and a lot of congestion, so you are going to have to be careful. Fourth waves are very dangerous to trade. All right, you can see that the MACD is beginning to flatten out here, so definitely there will be some activity here, but we don't know for how long. Now this is the weekly chart. You can see two back-to-back situations here of spinning top slash hammer bars, inverted hammer. So you have to be careful on the GBP. All right, so I would personally want to see something definitive on the GBP before I decide to make any conclusive argument about when to take my long trades. So let's go lower to the 4-hour chart and see what we see. Now you can see here that the market is beginning to look like it's flattening out. All right, so what we are going to be looking for is an incidence of a wave bottom somewhere between here and here. All right, it might go slightly lower, but the best way to determine an entry point for the GBP is to draw a trend line here and wait for this trend line to be conclusively broken. Okay, remember that the dollar index is having how would I say this, a brief respite going upward. So the possibility for this to go down is still there, but this region here and this region here are good areas of support. So you are going to wait until you get a conclusive wave bottom situation, and then you can safely go to the upside on the GBP. Okay, so let's go to the New Zealand USD. Now this is a New Zealand USD which apes what the GBP seems to be doing, and you can see here that we have an incidence of positive divergence here as well. So this move, this slight retracement, or this slight bearish move, well, this is on the monthly, so on the weekly it translates into something that may be reasonable. Okay, another way of determining how far it's going to go is taking the retracement from here. Okay, we have our we had an incidence of positive divergence here, we had one incidence of a wave bottom, we had another one here. So let's just take it from here to here. Okay, so like I said, when the trend is going strongly in a direction, like the way the MACD is open like so, the possibility of the market turning around at the 38% is there, and there's also the possibility of it getting as low as the 62% or at the 55%. So we are going to consider these two options. But let's go lower to the daily chart and see. Now this is the daily chart. Okay, and my bias is bullish. Okay, but I'm not averse to a short trade if I get the opportunity, because we have the MACD death cross here and we have the EMAs coming closer and closer together, looking like they might give us a death cross as well. So once the market reaches this region, keep your eye on this trend. Okay, once it crosses this region here, then the possibility of it getting as low as this point is there. Okay, but you have to wait for a conclusive signal to decide if you are going to take any trade. All right, because we are beginning to have what looks like back-to-back incidences of positive divergence here, but there's still one more push down, I believe, before this market decides to turn. So another way to really think of entering this trade is getting your trend line ready, like so, waiting for a conclusive wave bottom situation. All right, preferably on the 4-hour chart, because going to the 1-hour chart, I don't think you may get knocked out. You may get knocked out a couple of times. So you wait on the 4-hour chart and see what you see. All right. Now let's go to the AUD USD and let's see what we see. So same thing as the other majors. Okay, you can see that we have a retracement on the most current monthly candle. So let's go quickly to the weekly chart here. And on the weekly chart, same thing. All right. So we are waiting for this downward move to end. And the best way to see where and how far it's going to go is to take our retracement like this. I like the AUD USD for this because the retracements are very reliable. Okay, so you can see that it's already gotten to the 62% here before it retraced. So we are going to conclusively believe that this has the potential to still return to the 62% area before continuing the upward move. All right, like so. So on the daily chart here, you can see what we are seeing. We have our death cross here. We have our MACD death cross as well. So you are going to have to be careful. Okay, you are going to have to wait for a conclusive signal to go long. But the AUD is very reliable. So this one is a must watch for you. All right. So I submit to you that we still have another move to come down. Okay, and this will probably give us our wave bottom situation, and you can safely think of buying long then, because all these trades that I'm showing you, they are mostly swing trades, so you don't have to be in a rush. You just have to wait patiently and get your results. Okay, so for the AUD USD, please wait on the 4-hour chart and wait for a definite wave bottom situation. Okay, and if you don't want to wait on the 4-hour chart, you can wait on the daily until you get a golden cross of the MACD and a golden cross of the EMAs, and you can resume your upward momentum. All right, so let's go to the USD card. So the USD card will mirror what the dollar index is doing, and you can see that they look almost exactly alike. So we have our bounce here on the monthly from this area of support. So we are going to go to the weekly chart and see what we see. And on the weekly, this is what we see. We have what looks like railroad tracks. Okay, railroad tracks and a spinning top, something like this. So I believe that this move has the potential to still go further up. And if that's the case, then if that's the case, the major pairs, the NZD USD, the AUD USD, the GBP USD, you have to wait patiently because they still have some downward potential in them. So now let's go to the daily chart on the USD card right here, and you can see what we see. So we are going to have to wait for a conclusive entry point if this move is going to go further up. All right, now let me go lower to the 4-hour chart and see if I can find something. All right, so I took a trade on this pair last week and I made about 42 pips here. I believe I entered somewhere in this region and I took my profit here for 42 pips. So and I told you that we are waiting for the fourth wave to be consummated before we resume our upward move. So there's still a possibility here of getting another run up. Okay, now this move here from the third wave, you can see that we are getting close to the 62%. So for the USD card, you can wait on the 1-hour chart. All right, you wait conclusively here to get definite signal to go long in the short term. In the short term, not in the long term. Remember that the other currency pairs like the euro and the Aussie and the GBP, they all have upward potential. Okay, so don't expect this upward move to be one. It's not going to be very it's not going to show you definitive signal. It's going to keep going in jerks and spurts, so you are going to have to be careful. All right, but basically just watch yourself and you should do just fine. I'm going to go to the USDCHF now and see what I can see. So on the USDCHF, on the let's go to the monthly. You can see we have our bounce just occurring. So we're going to go to the weekly, and on the weekly chart, this is what we see. We are bouncing off of this region right here, right now. All right. So going to the daily chart, let's see what we see. On the daily chart, we have a beautiful situation of the wave bottom beginning to form. We have our golden cross here, but we don't have a golden cross on the EMA. So you are going to have to exercise a little bit of patience for this one. All right. And then you are going to have to wait. So on the 4-hour chart, it looks to be a little bit squiggly. All right. But that's okay. We know what to wait for. Okay. So if the trend is going to continue up, and this is the first wave, and we have this as the second wave, then that means that we are still in the third wave. So let's go lower to the 1-hour chart and see. So on the 1-hour chart, well, it's still the same as the 4-hour chart. So what we are waiting for now is conclusive evidence. We are going to look for a wave bottom here, a cross of the MACD, a cross of the EMAs, and a good wave bottom situation to get into this trade. This one, I recommend that you take your profits at between 20 to 30 pips because of the undulations I'm seeing here. Okay. All right. So let's go to the last currency pair for today. We are looking at the USDJPY right now, and the USDJPY, well, is doing the same thing as the other USD pairs. However, it's not as clear cut as the others. We have our bounce here. The most current candle is green, so we are looking at a bullish situation. Going to the weekly chart, this is what I'm seeing. We had a severe spot from this area of support up here, but now we are at an area where there seems to be a lot of resistance, and you can see if I were to put these crosses here, you can see going back in time we had some support, some resistance here. Okay, so that's where we are right now. All right, so for the USD JPY, you are going to have to put yourself in a mode of watching. You can see what's going on right here. So if we were to consider that the other ones are sort of late, then we know that these moves have the potential to get up to this region. All right, considering what the USD JPY did from here to here. So entering this new week, let's watch and wait and see what the USD JPY will tell us. If it's going to go down, then you wait and get definite proof. All right, and if it's going to break this level and go up, then you have to wait. So there's nothing really to say here. The only thing I can show you here is we have what looks like the beginning of a cross happening on the MACD on the 4-hour chart, and because we're at an area of resistance, it makes sense that there's a possibility of looking for a wave top situation here to take a trade to the downside. All right, but you relate this to what's happening on the dollar index and the other USD pairs. Okay, don't just make the decision willy-nilly. So guys, this is what I have for you for this week, and for me, if you were to ask me what currency pair would I really look at, I will submit to you that I believe I will look at the AUD USD, and I will look at the AUD USD. Okay, not because it's going to go up or down, but because its moves are very stable compared to the others. So for me, I think my eye will be on the AUD US this week. Okay, I'm not going to make a review of the other cross pairs. I believe that with this information that you are getting from the dollar index and the major pairs, you should be able to analyze the cross pairs for yourself. So thank you very much for listening and watching, and I hope that you got some information out of this. I wish you happy trading, and once again, thank you very much.